Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the 21st Century Underground. If you are watching us on YouTube, or not watching us on YouTube, that is, you may notice that there's a lack of video, and that would be because we are recording remotely.
We've gone dark.
Yeah, we've gone dark. Yeah, the apocalypse has come, and we are officially underground. Mike is remote. We are actually talking to him through a complicated setup that we will not go into or explain the voodoo behind.
A little backstory. This would be a good point to point out that Salvatore and I are roommates.
Oh yeah, I was actually going to mention that. Yeah. Me and Brandon are roommates, so we are quarantined together. I don't know if you guys
quarantined. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, there's really no getting around it. We can't really do our usual stuff this week. We are, for the record, we're recording this podcast on Thursday, the 19th of March. And we are about roughly 4 days into the coronavirus sort of quarantine.
Yeah.
Social distancing, trying to kind of keep indoors. So, I mean, we're on the younger side, all three of us. So, I mean, we would like to think that if we got infected, hopefully it wouldn't be too severe for us, but we could easily spread it to someone who it would be for us. So the responsible thing to do would be to stay indoors till this thing kind of works its way out, however long that will be. Things are very uncertain right now. So we're roughly about 4 days in. Last time we saw any of our friends kind of in a big sort of gathering, knowing that it would kind of be the last time for a little while, was the 15th. And my last day at work was the 17th. They ended up closing down my store. And so now I'm at home. But I'm doing okay. Things are going good on the money side. So I'm very fortunate in that sense. A lot of people do not have that. We've had some friends who've lost jobs and serving and things like that. But this has affected a lot of people. It's quite frankly, a pretty unprecedented. We'd be lying to you if we said this isn't like, a pretty unprecedented situation for anyone who's alive right now. Even, I mean, my grandparents never ran through anything quite like this. I think, historically speaking, we're going through something that we're going to look back on as being sort of a turning point for the world. However, whenever this resolves itself, Brandon, did you want to kind of explain to people? I mean, by way of intros, we'll just kind of discuss our experiences and what's kind of been going on, because we decided this episode's going to be a little unconventional in that we're going to just, I don't know, sort of document how we're weathering this out, how we're kind of staying positive, how we're, I don't know, trying to be constructive. It's, I talked to my dad on the phone the other day, and he was saying that we were just talking about art, and we were talking about struggle, and I don't know, these things can build you or break you. You know what I mean? I mean, as far as history goes, this isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to a human being, obviously, but it's different for us for sure. And so you got to build from this kind of thing. You got to stay calm and try not to panic, which is easier said than done. Trust me. Brandon, you want to pick it up and let people know where you're at right now?
Brandon Sala's filmmaker.
Well, no, this is not the normal episode. Yeah.
Brandon Sala's a filmmaker.
Yeah. I'm Salvatore, who just went on a long-winded,
a prose-like rant.
Yeah. No, I'm going to break it down with you guys. I'm going to be real. Some of us might not make it. I'm kidding.
Over here, I haven't spoken yet.
Yeah.
He's our remote guy. Yeah.
I'm the remote guy.
The audio guy.
So, but Brandon, when was the last time you worked? Just to give people a sense of what's going on.
Well, I actually think I've been fortunate. As far as
you're a freelancer. So
freelancing and filmmaking and owning my own company. So as you guys know, if you're listening, if you've been listening, I've been working on Horse Camp. Horse Camp officially went on hold. Let's see here. That was Thursday of last week.
What is Horse Camp, Brandy?
So for those who don't know, Horse Camp is a TV show that I've been shooting on. I'm a DP for, director of photography. And I've been shooting it up in Prescott, Arizona for the past few weeks. And yeah, it's a 7-episode show, brand new show. It's supposed to be air on Amazon. Yeah. So I've had the fortune to be doing that, and that's been a really great, fun project. So to be honest with you, I can't wait to go back. Otherwise, as far as my commercial stuff goes, I was really, really busy. And obviously, as of last week, it kind of all came to a pretty intense halt. My last shoot I had was actually today. It was just a small little shoot for social media. It was me and like two and a half other people. I say half because one person was only there for like 30 minutes to do makeup. I mean, it was kind of nice. It was as far as gigs go, because I was able to only touch my equipment, and it was very little people were in a studio, plenty of space amongst everybody. Again, I feel bad because the only people that had to be close to each other was the makeup artist and the actor. But hey, not my department. So shot that, and I actually have a good amount of editing for the go for the next 2 weeks. So I'll be doing a lot of editing. But after that, it's going to go kind of dark for me as far as that goes. So
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep on trying to nibble at some editing work and with my older clients, but I'm guessing that people are going to be spending less and less as time goes on. So,
yeah, we are definitely, if not in, we are on the verge of a recession for sure. Yeah, and that's a reality. Mike, what's been going on with you during all this?
A lot of different things. Well, what I mainly got, my work is we're continuing to work here. I'm a mechanic. It's my day job, and we're just taking cautions and being clean. So we're using Clorox wipes and hand sanitizers and medical gloves while we're moving people's cars, since we don't know if our clients are sick or came across anyone that's sick. So, and we actually have one of the people to actually get really ill from it and possibly die, which is one of our mechanics. He has only using 30% of his heart and like 30% of his heart and lungs. So if he gets it, since it's a more of a lung kind of sickness, he's done.
He absolutely is. I mean, I've heard some people get this, particularly older people, and even just recovering from it, they no longer have ability to use, like, maybe they're 20% reduced with their lung capacity because of the scarification, like the scar tissue that builds up from the disease. You know what I mean? Somebody like that, that's a big problem. My bar manager at work, just to I don't know, let everyone know, because everyone's not listening to every one of our episodes. I work at Changing Hands Bookstore, and they have the First Draft Book Bar in there, so they do beer and wine and coffee and stuff like that. And the bar manager there, she's definitely had some issues with sort of allergic bronchitis, things like that. You know what I mean? Just sort of breathing problems, things like that. And so I think she left work and self-quarantined, I want to say maybe a day or two before I left, because she just realized, like, if she gets sick with this, it could be a real problem. You know what I mean? If you've got bad enough health problems, like, the problem is when fluid enters your lungs due to pneumonia or something like that, or what, I don't even know that we've said the dreaded name of the virus, the coronavirus. Fluid enters your lungs, it has to work its way out naturally. They don't have a way of extracting that. So what happens is if it's bad enough, they lay you in your stomach in a hospital bed, intubate you, and put you on a ventilator so the ventilator breathes for you. And they need to just basically leave you on this, as far as I know. I mean, I could be talking some shit here.
You're 100% right. I read into that too.
Okay, yeah, because they'll just do that basically until you recover, because all they can do is treat the symptoms, because we don't have a drug for this. We don't have a vaccine for this. It's completely new. So we don't have a way to treat it directly. So, I was talking to my dad, who works at Parkland Hospital in Texas as a doctor, and, he said you just got to treat symptoms, because there is no known cure or treatment for it. And so you're basically just on this ventilator until this thing works its way out of your body. Hopefully it does, depending on how strong you are, depending on how healthy you are. And those ventilators, the thing is, we only have so many of them, and that's a big, big concern. You hear people talk about flattening the curve, and so the whole idea is we're self-isolating, quarantining ourselves even if we're not sick, staying at home, because we want to make sure that the medical system doesn't get overwhelmed by the number of cases that appear. And this thing spreads quickly. You know what I mean? You're talking about using medical gloves and Clorox and stuff. We were doing the exact same thing when I was at work. We were scrubbing the counters. We had disinfectant spray. We were really just doing the full gamut, just to try to kind of keep things as clean as possible. And then we finally just ended up closing. And they're open to do curbside pickup and online orders now. And they got like a skeleton crew over there, which I might help out with next week. But yeah, it's serious, you know what I mean? And it's not hopeless. Like, again, as I was saying earlier, like, this is not the worst plague that we've had in human history, even within the past, 100 years. You had the Spanish flu, the bubonic plague was obviously, pretty bad, but it's bad enough that it's definitely a concern. Like, it's definitely serious, and you should take it seriously. You shouldn't be out celebrating spring break like some of these fucking people in Florida, you know what I mean? Alabama, Texas, people's lives are at risk. Maybe not yours, you know what I mean, if you're healthy and young, but it's for real. It spreads much faster than the flu. You know, it's a real thing. We need to figure out how to treat it. So before we, get optimistic. I don't know where I'm going with this. A lot of emotions.
Well,
you know what I mean? This is all pretty fresh for us.
Definitely a good reminder, though, as far as we're going to obviously be saying a lot of things that we hear. Definitely, I mean, it's mostly allegedly. I mean, with social media right now, everything's firing on like 10 pistons.
That's its own struggle.
Make sure you do your own research as well.
Yeah. Yeah, don't listen to us. Yeah, completely.
Like some things we've heard for sure through net news, but just always try to do your own research when it comes to this thing. There's just so many people saying so many things all at once.
Well, and the thing is, we've got, I don't know, I feel like the 24-hour news cycle, I mean, for one, it's going 24 hours a day, and they need to fill the hours with material, you know what I mean? They need content, basically, and they need to, and, something urgent that inspires fear, definitely works a lot better. And so when you get into news, consuming news, especially in a time like this where we've never seen anything like this, it's a real negative spiral that you can get caught in. I remember maybe it was last week when this thing was first starting, and like it was the day. Actually, we had just recorded our last podcast. We had just recorded the I can't remember exactly what day it is, but we had recorded the music podcast that we went up. That's going to go up today or tomorrow. So last week for you guys who are listening now, that's when the news came through on my phone, that Donald Trump was addressing this thing on TV and that Tom Hanks got it. They shut down the NBA. All that stuff came at once. That's when people were like, oh, fuck, this might actually be serious. And I remember going into work the next day and just all the bad news kept flooding in. And I remember going home that night and I had somewhere to go. I was going to meet with some people, maybe an hour or so after I got off work. And I was just on my phone. I planned to read this book, do something positive. And I just got on my phone and I was just looking at all the stories, just trying to kind of parse the information and figure out what was going on, what's the good news, what's the bad news. All bad news, all terror. You know what I mean? It was all sort of like this is a cataclysm coming. I just remember having this feeling like I just felt completely hopeless and powerless in my room, on my phone, like this thing is closing in on me and it's coming and there's nothing I can do. And you know what I mean? It's going to be horrible. And then I called my dad and asked his opinion. And, he wasn't sugarcoating it, but I felt a lot better after getting like some just honest, straightforward facts, you know what I mean, about what's going on, Good news is the cases are dwindling in China, from what I understand. Apparently Japan is using a flu drug of some sort that supposedly is effective in some ways against fighting it in patients. I think China is trying to do clinical trials of a vaccine. So there is good news, but it's like you just get caught in this just whirlwind of just spiraling, you know what I mean, hysteria, and even if it's not to say it isn't serious, because it is, but it's like the panic doesn't help, and that's a serious problem that I think that we have, because everyone's freaking out about how there's a recession, this disease is this invisible threat is just lurking everywhere, and they don't really know what to do, and so I think people are freaking out. But I'm telling you, I think our panic is a much bigger threat than the virus itself for a lot of people and for moving forward, Yeah. So that's my sense of things. But yeah, in any event, I don't know. We're just going to kind of just roll here and just try to kind of tell you guys what we've been doing. And I don't know how you cope with this situation, because I mean, you've got, I don't know. It's a weird thing, because obviously we've never been through this before in our generation. And so it's like, I don't know. You don't really have many options. It's just like you've got to, I don't know, to some degree answer the call and just sort of respond to the situation accordingly, and that's tough, because I've been very nervous. Like I was so anxious when they let me out of work, to be honest, just from being exposed to the public all day, every day at my job, and just knowing that this thing was out there, that I was exhausted. Like I wasn't sick, but I felt sick just because I was so run down by the time I was done working. And to finally get home and just like have dinner and a beer and just sit down and watch TV with, like Brandon and his girlfriend Marzana, and just relax with my roommates in the house after I washed my hands and, you know what I mean, sanitized and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. The stress alone, I mean, like in a time like this, it's a real double whammy, because the stress itself will decimate your immune system before it even gets to you, and that's not what you want at this time. So I don't know. I'm just kind of going off the cuff here, guys. I don't know if you want to jump in.
It's definitely a relief. Yeah. It's definitely a relief being home, just because you have to for me, I'm obviously like everybody else. I'm used to my comforts, and it's annoying being out in public and having to be constantly conscious of touching myself or touching other. I can't stop touching myself.
I'm a chronic
in public.
masturbator. I just can't stop doing it.
No, but I can't like touch my face, or I'm very aware of even like my arms and like everything.
Me too. Yeah.
And it's just exhausting. That part's like probably the most exhausting because I just want to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Like I'm not necessarily too worried about navigating through the world. It's just constantly having to look at everything like with a new eyes. So when I'm at home, it's nice. Wash my hands. I even took after my gig today. I immediately cleaned my equipment. I locked it up, and then I took a shower, and it was nice. After I took a shower, I'm able to relax because I don't have to think about, oh man, did I do this? Is my arm okay? Did I touch anything with my neck?
Well, it's what it is to be constantly on edge. You know what I mean? And you got to have some gratitude here because I mean, like, this is not the worst thing in the past 100 years. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, constantly on edge. I mean, it sucks. Like, it really sucks. Like, I don't want to trivialize it, but you know, I mean, we're not cowering in a subway tunnel while Hitler bombs London or anything like that. You know what I mean? So that's good. You know what I mean? It's not the bubonic plague. It's not Spanish flu, which was killing people our age, like, you know, like that. So, you know, it could be a lot worse, but it's, again, you know, this kind of thing doesn't happen to you. It's perfectly understandable that we're all going to be really scared because it's a scary situation. If you have loved ones too, I mean, especially older loved ones, like our parents are all in their, you know, 50s, 60s, roughly, at least me and Brandon's, I know are, and then, you know, you got grandparents, got extended family all over the country. A lot of my family's in New York where this thing is really kind of exploding. I think it's mostly in New York City is like the epicenter of it, but I got a lot of elderly family in Buffalo. And my dad works at the hospital. You know, he's very healthy, but he's a man in his early 60s. You know, my girlfriend lives, something that's really freaking me out. And the thing where my imagination really starts kind of pulling on the thread is and kind of, you know, unraveling, you know, what have you. You know, my girlfriend lives, you know, sort of in her own apartment across town. And it's not that far away, you know what I mean? And I can see her, obviously. And we've been talking on the phone and texting and things like that. But it's like, I don't know. She still has to be at work because of what her job is. And there's definitely a good chance of exposure where she is. So you got the virus itself, and, you know, she's young and healthy. So, you know, hopefully nothing bad would come from that. But then you got, I don't know, just like these ideas swirling around in my head about like looters and then just like rioting and people losing it because they're out of work and, you know, need to eat. You know, people think that there's a food shortage, but there's no food shortage, just things bottlenecked because, you know, the food suppliers weren't prepared to deal with the volume that people were buying at. And that's another thing, by the way. People are they are buying way more than they need even to wait it out for a couple months in their house. You know what I mean? People are not thinking about their community at all. Like, you know, we're buying up not just a lot of toilet paper to last us, but we're buying up more toilet paper than we could possibly need. You know, Clorox wipes, meat, for sure. You know, it's something very symbolic about going to Sprouts and just seeing the entire meat department just picked over by people, you know what I mean? Just ravenous, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. That's depressing to me. I was, here's share an anecdote here. I was driving up to Safeway. I'd actually just, this was last week. This is kind of like as things were kind of gearing up, but not quite at the point where we were all, you know, this terrified yet. But I was driving up to Safeway and I had my window open and I just see this guy coming out the front who's got like 8 gallons of water in his cart as he's walking to his car, and he's just over his shoulder. He's just mocking this homeless guy who's just standing in front asking for change, holding like a squeegee bottle and a Febreze, or a squeegee and a Febreze bottle. And he's just like, so this dude is like just buying, you know, he's gonna, when this thing's over, he'll probably just have tons of uneaten canned food, and he's just sitting on his ass at home watching Netflix, you know, working comfortably from home and all this shit. And this homeless guy could actually be dead from this, you know what I mean? Because he's an at-risk population, and that is a mistake. And I think that's a result of panic. And I don't know. I just want to see people being more. You know what I mean? This is not gonna. We're not gonna come through this if we're not looking out for each other. You know what I mean? Because that's what society is. You know what I mean? It's not every man for himself. It's being afraid. Sure, you can admit that you're afraid, but don't panic and be good to each other. You know? And I don't know. That's, you know, something that I've noticed. That's kind of like really my biggest problem. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. And I worry about my loved ones because of all that kind of chaos and panic, and, you know, people making decisions on the back of that.
Yeah, on that end, my work has been sanitizing a lot, and some people are still not taking it seriously. Just like the guy I was telling you about, he He's not wearing gloves while driving these vehicles. He's the one. I'm like, I'm doing this because I don't want you to die. Because if I somehow spread it towards you, you die. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's exactly the one to do it. But people are not taking it seriously enough, especially for those who are at most risks for some. And my coworker, he's kind of hard-headed, kind of hard to get things through him. But besides that, the running low on supplies has actually been a hindrance for me, because personally, I thankfully stocked up on my end, and I have toilet paper and I have cleaning supplies and all that. But my mom recently just ran out her house, so I've been like going to multiple stores, and then every time I hear about someone stocking up, I see a line outside the stores. There's lines outside Fry's, lines outside Smart and Finals, and then by the time I get there, when I get out of work or I find time during lunch, it's out. There's no more. There's nothing. And so I pretty much had to take some supplies from work, because we had enough for our job for the next couple of, like, actually a decent month. And so I was able to take a 6-pack. We had enough for the next couple of months, and that helped me out. And I was talking to my uniforms guy, the guy who serviced my uniforms, the Cintas company, and I was asking him, like, hey, do you guys sell toilet papers, and do you guys sell hand sanitizing wipes? And they do, and they're on a shortage as well, and they're also on a limitation how much they can provide to businesses because of that shortage, because they're asking, all these businesses has been asking for a little extra for whatever reason, and that's the stockpiling thing is what's causing that shortage, not because we're running low for whatever reason. It's the stockpiling, and so I wasn't really asking for any supplies, but I just kind of want to see his take on what he's seen. And he's since he serviced more than just auto shops, he does restaurants and stuff. There's like times he rolls up to these businesses and they're closed. So it's like a short day for him, because he's only servicing so many businesses, because a lot of them are closed. And what else have I seen? Oh, my mom's recently, my mom, she's a special needs person, I guess you can say, and she has this disease called schizophrenia, and she needs to get her medication. She gets her antipsychotic shots every 2 weeks, and she goes through this day program where she kind of does activities with other people, and it's usually about 15 plus more people. And since the whole epidemic and having less than 10 people per outing and all that stuff, they canceled that the day program for the next couple weeks. And through her program, she goes to they send her to her doctor to get checkups, medicine prescriptions, and her shots. And this Monday was her time to go in to get her shots, and she wasn't. They sent her home because they had their doors closed. And I've been trying to contact her doctor, and I couldn't keep a hold of get into contact with the doctor. So I gotta somehow get in contact with the caseworker and figure out what's going on there, and because it's affecting all this. And I'm not even sure if I can contact the caseworker as well, because she works in a office that is filled with a revolving door of clients with 100 plus clients who lean towards more of the spectrum of mentally ill, homeless, just kind of like these kind of clients who aren't the cleanest or don't have financial ability to stay clean, stay healthy, and be away. You know what I'm saying? And so, being a part of in a job system like that, it would be more likely to close their doors than to be open and be surrounded by all that. And so I'm gonna have to continuously just make sure and contact them to get this thing scheduled, because it's been like since Monday, and we're shooting this Thursday, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, actually, I just for some context, as of Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, we've been in a state of emergency that began in Phoenix, that began around 8 p.m. So what that means basically is I think all bars and restaurants are closed except for takeout.
Okay.
But yeah, there are a lot more restrictions, and so it's affecting everything. Yeah, a lot of places are closing down, and even the ones that aren't affected are closing their doors just to for public safety.
That was the weird part, because she had her appointment Monday, and that's it was before the state of emergency. I honestly, I don't really understand why this didn't happen. Her appointment happened, didn't get solved. But yeah, I need to make sure that happens, because it's I don't want to see my mom spiral down without her medicine, and
that'd be totally like, that's obviously unfair, and like
there's a lot of that going on right now. Especially because everything is in chaos, you know what I mean? And a lot of like sort of at-risk people with special needs, the homeless, like a lot of these people are having, there's like, from what I understand, my girlfriend works in the public defender's office, not to go too much into it, but it sounds like the courts are basically in chaos right now too, just trying to deal with all of like the volume of things that they need to deal with, but also knowing that this pandemic is going on, you know what I mean? And that, it just sounds like pure madness. It's really putting a strain on just every institution, you know what I mean, in our society right now. And the thing is, too, we were pretty slow to respond in the U.S. We saw what was going on in China, which, that was pretty distant. We're probably like, okay, well, maybe this won't spread over here. But then it hit Italy. It got to a point where it was pretty obvious that something was going to happen. And we're just now kind of catching up. And, we are still just at the beginning of it right now. We still haven't seen the numbers that, say, Italy, or China, has seen, I think we're still on our way there,
Well, I think this is... Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to ask you guys, do you know anyone who actually has caught the virus? A friend of a friend or anything like that?
That's the most I got, is a friend of a friend. So
yeah, it was like a secondhand me too.
I have one of the persons I was working with today, her friend that lives in California has a friend. So 3 friends. But the not so laughing side of it, that California friend, her friend, who was 30 years old, died from coronavirus.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't get... it was annoying. And my friend can share their sentiment. Because my friend was like, well, was there any pre-existing health conditions?
Yeah, right.
And then she didn't respond about that portion. She was talking about it. So.
Yeah.
So we're like, but that's all. I understand that.
There's
sucks,
a lot of that in the news too, where it's just like vague, and you're just like, come on, Because I remember, was it last? I think it was the last day we saw everyone, so it must have been Sunday. That report came in that like 368 people had died in 24 hours in Italy, and I was like, what the fuck? And so I was reading all these articles trying to figure out what went on, and then just days later, I see a report that. Of the 1,000 that had died in Italy at that point, 90% were above 70. And I was like, well, I could have used that a couple of days ago when I was shitting my pants. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good, but, and I actually saw an article that broke it down. The interesting thing is South Korea was hit pretty hard, too. And just due to a number of different factors that they were mostly speculating on, only 66 people died in South Korea as opposed to like the 1,000 that had died in Italy.
Yeah.
I think a part of that is just the conditions in Italy. I mean, the way the cities are structured. I mean,
Well,
it's the same problem that got them during the Black Plague. Like, they're so narrow, tight. But then also everyone, smoking is very common there. A higher percentage of the population is above 60. You know what I mean? So there
Lots of carbs.
The ways that they greet
not just that.
greet each other too different.
From what I also the continuous news that I've been kind of just checking out here and there, NPR and multiple sources, is I haven't heard about the smoking thing. That it's good to speculate, but the biggest thing they talk about is the lack of testing they did in the beginning. And
that's true. Yeah.
South Korea did over 100,000 testing right away, and they were able to catch it before it got really bad. And that's how they were able to contain it and stop it, and also treat those people who were sick early before it got fatal. And versus Italy took too long and didn't do as much testing to really tackle it on hard.
Yeah. I heard that was. Yeah, I did hear that was a big part of it, because I guess it was testing was widespread pretty early on in South Korea.
And that's the one thing that kind of worries me about the United States, is that we're not heavily testing as hard, and so that can be an issue. So even though we have those cases numbered, but there's still so many. Like how many cases do we have in the United States?
So like 10,000 or something like that
10,000
now as of today.
10,000 as of today.
Confirmed. Just confirmed.
Yeah, that means that they tested them and they confirmed positive. And there's
which means that
30,000.
Those clusters have exploded.
Exactly, because of the lack of testing. So we don't know how big it's gonna be if we don't test.
I mean, not to be this guy and put, drag a negative put a dark curtain over this whole thing, but any one of us could technically be infected with it. I mean, some people our age don't even show symptoms, and it works its way out of your system without. And that's very scary. I mean, on one hand, you're like, oh, okay, well, I could get it and have a relatively easy time, but you better hope that you're indoors that whole time, because anyone that you come across could easily get it. It's airborne. It stays on surfaces for 3 days. It's pretty virulent. But I mean, honestly, we're not telling anyone anything that they don't know, especially by this time next week. I don't even know where we're going to be, so maybe we should get into kind of how we're coping.
I was going to say real quick.
Yeah.
I think what's important. So I think the thing we keep on dancing around. Our hot points of complaining. It's funny. It's both the extremes. It's people who are overreacting to the point that they're damaging other people, but then also people who aren't reacting enough.
Yeah. Like in Florida, it's like, if I get coronavirus, I don't give a fuck. Like the kid on spring break. It's
we're
just
having
like,
these
dude,
two extremes, and I mean, simply all we're trying to say is it's about having balance.
Yeah.
And I guess that being said, with all this intense amount of stress, how are you guys balancing that out right now?
Are we balancing that? Well, I've been home for only 2 days now, and it's a weird feeling. It's funny. My girlfriend was telling me, I was talking to her about it. I've been saying forever, because at my work, I only get like a day off, work 3 or 4 days, get another day off. I've never had like a sort of a full weekend in like probably over a year when I've taken time off. And she was like, yeah, you're always, talking about how you'd love to just have like, just a big chunk of time off to like write and do stuff. And I'm like, well, it's a fucking pandemic. I'm anxious, but yeah, no, she's absolutely right. And that's the thing too, is like, I can't change the fact that this thing is spread all across the earth and that it's looming over us. Like, I just gotta, it comes to a point where you just have to sort of accept the things that you cannot change and change the things that you can, you know what I mean? And I don't know, find peace in that and do the thing, as on an individual basis, you have to make the choices that will ultimately affect the greater populace. You need to create the change in yourself, you know what I mean, and actualize it in that way. And so what I've just been relaxing because I was just so fucking stressed out from work, and so I've just kind of been, and I'm not used to this either, being home this much. But my plan ultimately is to try to kind of get into a routine here soon and just start writing every day. I mean, I've got all these I work at a bookstore. I've got piles of great books that that are just backlogs that I've been looking for time to read, and it's like, well, I got it now. So I have time to read, time to write. I'm going to do some body exercises in my room, things like that. Get better at cooking, clean up the house. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I can honestly take care of in the near, to distant future, depending on how long this lasts. That would be really great habits to get into. So that's my plan, and to try to just sort of look at what's going on in the world around me. And I was talking to my dad a lot about this on the phone the other day. I've been talking to him a lot because he's a doctor, and this is a very panic-inducing time. But I was talking to him on the phone about it, and he was telling me about this woman who was in a concentration camp and who wrote some memoirs that he was reading. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I wish I could. But he was saying that she's in this horrible situation, but as a result of being there, it causes her to notice these moments of beauty and like transcendence with her fellow sort of people around her and kind of the things that she's seeing in nature. And in these experiences, she's finding these moments where she transcends the suffering and kind of apply sort of a meaning to it. And she survived the Holocaust and got out and became sort of a memoirist and philosopher, from what I understand, and a thinker who was just sort of trying to understand existence, trying to understand life. And I don't know, she took a really horrific thing and was able to transform it into something meaningful and helpful, and I don't know, something with some real power. It reminds me of this quote by Nietzsche. He said, "To live is to suffer, but to find meaning in suffering is to survive." And I think that's kind of the name of the game here. Stay calm, try not to panic, and I don't know, find a way to turn this into something positive, turn this into an opportunity. You know what I mean? There's this meme that's been circulating that says, Shakespeare was quarantined due to the plague, and then ended up writing King Lear. You know what I mean? And obviously you don't have to write King Lear. Like, you can improve yourself in any little way you want. Because I've seen this other meme circulating that's like, don't worry about writing the next novel. Don't worry about, don't worry about doing anything. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, there's, you should relax too. But I mean, you can really use this as an opportunity. I don't think you should discount that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
For me, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brendan. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, I'm having definitely a wrestling. Well, for me, it's nice because my mindset is when you're if you're at home, honestly, if you're not at home, not panicking, and you're already done all your precautions, you made sure you've have a reasonable amount of food until the things settle down, people can start ordering delivery or however we plan on getting food with the weeks moving forward. But if you're just at home with your precautions taken care of, honestly, just not panicking is the best thing you can do. Whether that's watching TV, doing something creative. I mean, obviously, at least for me, I'm pretty sure all three of us are trying to do some creative stuff during this time. But then at the same time, it was nice to just kind of for the past couple of days, I took it a little bit easier, and I've been playing a video game, Metro Exodus.
Ah, yes.
To be honest with you, the main reason I'm playing that is just to buy time until tomorrow.
Doom Eternal. Okay, so I talked about getting some writing done, but that's gonna go out the fucking window. Yeah, no, but Doom Eternal comes out.
Real talk.
Me and Brandon pre-ordered it, and going to the Best Buy to the store to get it, probably not terribly feasible. However, Best Buy proactively is gonna send the pre-ordered.
No. That one we have to go pick. We do have to go pick it up.
We have to go pick it up.
Yeah.
I thought they were mailing it to us.
No, they're mailing the steel case.
Oh, they're just mailing the steel book to us? What the fuck?
Yeah. What?
Never mind. I take it all back. This is an opportunity. This is bullshit.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I heard that Best Buy is having just volunteers, no matter what, they're gonna get paid. If you want to self quarantine, you're gonna get paid. But they have volunteers working on hand.
Hey, as long as they're open 10 a.m. tomorrow, I could care less.
Yeah. So, Doom Eternal. And then, other than that, I've been playing actually another id Software game that I grew up with. Yeah, because to take you guys back, I remember sitting on my grandpa's lap when I was 3 years old and him letting me play the first Doom on his Windows 95 when I was a little kid. So this game goes back for me. But, I've been playing Wolfenstein, and I've been watching Watchmen on HBO, which is fucking stellar.
Yeah, it's really good.
Holy shit, it's so good. I don't know how this show got made because it's like a TV show sequel to the book. And I remember my girlfriend tried watching it a little while ago and just couldn't get into it because she was like, "What's going on? I'm so confused." And it's I don't know how they pitched this to the network because you miss so much if you didn't read the original book because it's just straight up
the book,
a sequel. Yeah, it's it's really good though.
For those who don't know, it's got squid. So.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, it's got the giant squid. They didn't Zack Snyder this thing out. Oh, and the other thing that I love about it, there's these scenes from a fictional Minutemen TV show, which was the superhero group from the 30s or it was the 40s or 50s in the fictional universe, and they've made a TV show out of it in the present day in the show. And so there are scenes with this character, Hooded Justice, fighting criminals and stuff like that. And they're straight up parodying Zack Snyder's directing style in those scenes, and it fucking kills me. And it's like it's a straight up parody of Zack Snyder, who directed the original Watchmen movie. And I don't know, for some reason that killed me too. I was like, this show is just perfect. It's so good.
Yeah, so definitely I've been chewing a lot of that stuff. I kind of want to take it easy for a couple days. Like I said, thankfully I do have actually a decent amount of editing to do, and obviously I'm not gonna let that go to waste. So I got that to do. Obviously the podcast to keep up with. Me and Salvatore, actually, this is a little bit of a creative update. Me and Salvatore are currently working on a new project.
Yeah.
Won't go too much detail, but
yeah, we'll be stewing over it. Yeah, during this time.
To say the least, so the script will be written. Hopefully there's still funders left in 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, no, God, yeah, hopefully, yeah, right. Hopefully there'll be film festivals that we can have to. And our short film too, we've passed it off to Mike to do the soundtrack.
And he already gushed us for just a small bit of audio.
Holy shit, that was good. Yeah.
So obviously all those creative things are still happening, and I got plenty to take care of. Obviously I'm not going to let this time go to waste. I'm going to knock out my taxes because as a business owner, it's an extra pain in the butt. So this will give me the time to do it correctly.
A little historical note here for people watching this in the future. They have extended the tax day by 90 days because of the coronavirus. That's almost like 3 months.
Yep.
Tax day is going to be in the summer because of this thing. Yeah.
So I'm probably going to still try to take care of it now.
Nah, me too. Yeah. I'm paranoid that they'll change their minds.
And then just keep on doing. I mean, thankfully, the nice thing is all of our living expenses are obviously going to die down. So for me, the thing I should point out, I am so not a homebody. I love every excuse to go out, not necessarily with people. If it's just me and my girlfriend, me and Salvatore, it could be something small or it could be something really large. And either way, I'm about it. I like going out to eat. I like going to movie theaters. I love being out. Me and Salvatore have found a number of times. I mean, heck, you can actually find this all the way to our younger years. We would find any excuse to get out of the house, even if it was just walking.
Absolutely, just adventurers.
Yeah, even if it was just walking around our neighborhood at the middle of the night, we'd find any excuse possible.
Yeah, we did that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard. It's extra hard for me to have the elements of you're not supposed to go out. That telling myself that.
Yeah.
I know it's stupid, but it definitely it makes it just slightly more challenging.
I can do it, and I'm definitely content with something. I need to be in the right frame of mind, but I can definitely do it contentedly. But it does definitely grate on me.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have I'll be fine for most of the day, but then I'll just have these moments where I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, I'm really glad we have a backyard. Mm-hmm. We live in a house now.
Well, I'm glad we have the internet. I'm so grateful for our group of friends we have here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, truly family. We have a little group chat with them. And the fact that, I don't know, we have that group chat and we're able to just constantly both talk about the seriousness of what's going on, but also joke about it and then just cheer each other up and talk about what we would be doing right now. I don't know. It's just nice. It really is a relief.
Yeah, it's interesting the things that we're seeing, though. You know what I mean? We're talking about, being in this socially disconnected technology age. And yet, people aren't completely satisfied just sitting at home. They need that human contact. You know what I mean? It's really good that we can contact each other through the internet because that's, so we're seeing the positive side of these technologies where we can keep up with our friends. I can talk to my girlfriend. You know what I mean? I've been missing her like crazy since this whole thing started, and our schedules have been nuts. And then obviously it's a scary time, and there's this sort of threat kind of looming in the air. So it makes me, worry about her. And the fact that I can just talk to her any time of day and we can keep up with each other is really good. So that's, that's really positive. And I can talk to my parents, you know what I mean? I can talk to my parents, I can talk to my family, I can kind of check in and make sure everybody's doing okay. But at the same time, we're stuck indoors and we have all these great gadgets and technology and stuff, but it only goes so far. We need to get out. We need to move. You know what I mean? We need to be with each other, in a real way. You know what I mean? Something beyond the digital. And so I think it's really interesting that it's showing us that. And I don't know, as awful as this is, I can't help but to feel like there could be some really, I don't want to trivialize because people are literally dying. Lots of people, you know what I mean? And it's very unfortunate. I don't know. I feel like, if we utilize this opportunity, again, saying that just feels weird to me because it's just, again, there are people who are losing family members and people losing their lives. But I don't know. I feel like at the end of this, I don't know. It's unfortunate that it required this, but I think we might be able to have a better society. You know what I mean? If we can kind of just get to the end of the tunnel, you know? And it's really fucking awful while it's going on. Like, I'm not going to lie. And it's hard not to panic. You know, I'm telling everybody not to panic, but I'm panicking constantly, you know?
I don't know.
And
I don't know if you guys gotten that from the podcast yet.
Yeah. No, I mean, I legit, you know, talking about staying at home, I had my first anxiety attack probably on, like, the first day, and it wasn't bad. It's just, you know, I was drinking coffee, and the thing about coffee is, like, you don't realize how much it exacerbates things until you've already had too much. But I was just kind of sitting there for a moment in the room watching TV, and I was like, I can't leave this fucking house. I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck here. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like losing it for a second, and then I came out to the garage and just took a few breaths, and I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I think I called my dad, and I was just kind of talking to him for a minute, and I just kind of like was like, all right, I'm okay. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's definitely difficult for sure, and it's like, I don't know. I heard. Was it Ethan Hawke that said this? I don't know. Somebody, he had a live stream earlier today that I loved because he was kind of talking about a lot of this. And it's just, you know, the idea that you have to admit that you're afraid before you can be courageous. Because that's real courage. You know what I mean? If you're trying to hide that from people, hide the fact that you're afraid from other people and yourself, you're not going to be courageous. You're going to be the opposite. You know what I mean? Because you can't sort of confront reality, you know, and I don't know. I think that's very true. You know what I mean? We got to be honest with ourselves, and I don't know, just try to get through this thing. And I think, I don't know. After it's all over, hopefully we can learn from this. We can build better systems that'll take care of us when these things happen and take care of other people. You know, I'm out in the road. I was talking to Brandon about this because I had to drop off a piece of equipment because he had forgotten it. So I had to go out. I had to brave the world. I just handed it to him from the car, but I had to meet him at the studio he was shooting at. And I just noticed when I was on the road, people were shittier about driving. They were selfish drivers. I couldn't. You know, when people would sort of like, you know, I had my turn signal on and people would like let you in, nobody was doing that shit at all at any point today. Everyone was very aggressive on the road, and I was like, this is a real fix, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, Mike, go ahead and tell us what your side of things. How are you spinning it?
I'm doing just fine. I'm not worried because I know what I'm doing is right. I'm taking all the precautions. I'm being extra clean. And I'm just worried about others mainly. Worried about my mom. Worried about my friends losing their jobs and their financial. How are they going to survive when they're 2 months out of work and just stuff like that. But I know I can provide if need be when friends and family kind of go under a little bit, but other than that, I'm doing fine. I working on the movie and play games here and there, and I have to study this thing for work so I can be a master certified technician, and that I've been too distracted to want to study. But my Danny, my wife, she's continually doing she's doing school online, so being out of school, like a lot of people who go on campus, they don't really get who got affected that way. She didn't really get affected because all her courses are online right now, and so they're just carrying on, and she's doing well. She's a homebody. Normally, she just stays at home, so it's no biggie for us to be home. Me, I'm out 10 hours a day at work, so when I come home, I just stay home. The weekend, though, it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how are we gonna handle the weekend, because I probably am gonna go see my mom to see how she's doing, because she's she needs to be like, she likes going out and she can't stay indoors for too long, or else she gets anxiety and stuff. So I'm just gonna go hang out with her. We're not gonna go anywhere. I'm probably just gonna pick up some food and go back home and to her home and just hang out with her and eat some food there. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's great. Any advice for our listeners, our undergrounders? What do we call them?
I have no idea.
I like undergrounders.
Undergrounders
I'm gonna keep that one.
for the underground.
That's actually good.
Because they're all a part. They're all a part of the underground. Yeah, we're one underground. Sorry, Mike. Go on.
Advice would be, just be aware of what's going on. As in, kind of listen to the well-known news outlets and not Facebook posts. And you know,
I mean, to be fair, yeah, good point. Yeah, go ahead.
Because there's so much misleading information, and so tune into your radio stations, news stations. For the most part, they've been putting out pretty accurate, consistent news, and but I just been seeing too many of these fake posts about if you hold your breath for 10 seconds. And you don't cough, then you don't have it, which is totally...
Yeah, the Geraldo Riviera, the guy that opened Al Capone's vault, remember? In the 80s, he excavated...
I don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was on the news holding it. He was... Okay, so by the way, he was on a mainstream
that was
news outlet.
As fuck.
I mean, he was on Fox News. I don't know how seriously you can take that, but technically it's mainstream, and he was on there just holding his breath.
Don't watch Fox News.
You know what I mean? Like, going... And it's just like, you're watching this fucking guy do this, and I'm just like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, you don't know until you get tested. So go.
Yeah, no, you don't. Absolutely.
And at the same time, if you're starting to get symptoms, don't freak out. They're saying if you're starting to get symptoms.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't panic. It's true.
No, you shouldn't panic. No,
don't
but I was
panic.
You should be careful.
Obviously, be careful and if you're starting to see symptoms of any like flu or regular cough, because I ran into people who have regular coughs or have allergies. And then they're starting to think, oh, I might have this. I need to go to the doctor. No, that's not.
Well, it is allergy season. Yeah, for sure.
You don't need to rush to the doctors right away. Wait it out a couple days.
It's allergy season, my dude.
Isolate yourself. Be clean, and then if like you're starting to notice more symptoms and the symptoms haven't gotten away, then you go to emergency room or whatever and go get tested, or look up facilities near you that you can get tested. But there's only right now USA we're limited with test kits. We're limited with how many people you can get service. So if you're bombarding the medical system by being paranoid, then you're just going to put the people who actually need the care at risk, because they're the ones going to be waiting longer. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. People should stay precautious on.
Yeah, no, actually, on the flip side of that, I heard there was this neuroscientist who got the coronavirus, and he thought he just had a cold at first because the symptoms started out so gradually, and he ended up seeing patients in the hospital, I guess. But yeah, he said his advice was to definitely self-quarantine as soon as you have anything, basically, because you just sort of have to assume it's coronavirus so that you don't expose people. But no, it's right. You shouldn't panic. Yeah, I would maybe wait it out a little bit before you got the test.
Oh, no. I'm not saying like it's not necessarily the flip side. We're both talking about the same thing. You got to self-isolate yourself. Don't just go out and get, expose yourself to other people and get tested.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see.
Just assume you have it and stay clean and isolate yourself, and then go to get tested if symptoms haven't subsided with regular flu medicine.
And look, I get it. You're 21. You're fit as fuck. You're the fucking Titanic, right? Well, Titanic sank too.
Yeah.
But really, like, it's my big thing, and like my big parting thing, and it'll always be my big parting thing. Is just try to seek the balance in all of it. Be cautious, but don't panic. Embrace some of that news and stress, but also find ways to relax and unwind. Like, always just keep yourself in that balance. Don't like lean in any one direction. You're gonna go crazy. Like, especially with self-isolating. It's great to self-isolate, and it's a positive thing. Find ways to make it better, whether it's doing something that even if it's just being lazy. Look, if that's what relaxes you and calms you down right now, that's okay. That's okay. I definitely think try to make your time worthwhile. Try to work on something creative, but don't stress and like knock yourself down if something creative isn't coming to you. Right now it's going to be crazy. Right now you're going to be full of different emotions. Maybe you don't want to work on that whatever you've been wanting to work on for a long time. And that's okay. Don't like add to your stress by the fact that you're beating yourself up for that. Just do what makes you feel good right now and find your balance through all this.
Word.
I agree.
I
think one thing I want to add to the extroverts out there.
Are you trying to lecture me, Mike?
I'm trying to lecture all you guys right now. No, what I like what we've been doing. You know, we have a friend system going on with a group chat where we kind of share our thoughts and ideas and stuff like that, and it kind of keeps us united and at the same time, like, you know, informed with each other. So if I didn't have that, it'd be like more of the isolation than it need be. So for those who need having that human interaction, just start a group chat with a couple of your friends, maybe a group FaceTime.
Your cousins.
Yeah, your cousins, your families, and you can just talk like that. You know, you could really get a lot out of talking on someone on the phone. And you know, like when I'm in person, I'm not like sitting on Brandon's lap. Like, I don't need to touch him to know that he's there. If I need to talk to a friend, I just call him or message him, and then like I get whatever social thing I need to get out of me, and then I'm doing much better on that end.
And I feel like with the group chat, what we've been doing a lot, at least maybe I've been doing a lot, but I feel like everybody's doing it. It's like almost laying all those impulse thoughts or worries or whatever, laying them out. And I feel like by laying them out, like, for instance, go to the grocery store, someone hacks all over like the wall nearby you, and that like freaks you out or bothers you. You're able to like literally pull out your phone, message about it immediately, and kind of like, I don't know, already get it out. And by getting it out so quickly and not having those little, I've been laying a lot more of my impulse messages go into the group chat. I feel like it's honestly been giving me a lot of relief, whether it's funny, worry, just letting it out.
Yeah, because it kind of it also gives you a fast response of like, you know, what you're thinking about at the time.
Yeah.
Because I try to respond as quickly as I can. If one person doesn't, if I don't, another person does, kind of thing.
We do actually have a weirdly large group chat. I've never had a group chat this large before. It's kind of cool.
How many people?
I don't know. We'll see how long it lasts.
It's well, let's count it out real quick. We got me, so it's Brandon, his girlfriend Marzana,
Tyler,
Mike, friend Tyler, Soraya, his fiance. Got my girlfriend Brittany, Tanya's in there. Julio's girlfriend Julio. Is that everyone? I'm like lost track of the names already. That's the problem.
Brittany said me. You said me.
I said you. Oh, me too. So that's what, 9?
Shamet.
I think that's it.
Oh, Shamet. Oh, so
10 people?
Oh, yeah, 10 people. That number doesn't seem right, though, because... oh, yeah, no, that is right, because... yeah, Danny's not in there, so Mike... Okay, because I was going to say, I was like, there's a number of couples, so this has got to be even. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah.
So...
10 people.
That's unbelievable. Like I said, I never had a group chat that big, and I feel like we accidentally made this group chat, like, literally, we did it for something else. What was the purpose of it?
Oh,
Sedona trip.
Sedona trip, yeah. So we went to go Sedona for the film festival a few weeks ago. We started a group chat with people, and then Mike added everybody afterwards, and
renamed it.
Everybody stayed in. Yeah, gang.
Yeah,
I renamed it.
Homies.
Yeah,
I kept it alive, bitches.
You did, and like it couldn't have been a better time. Like I said, it was before all this was hitting, so I don't know. I'm definitely very glad to have it. Honestly, I'm very glad to have roommates right now. If I were to be self-isolating truly alone, I definitely, I think I'd have a lot harder time being positive through all this.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know what you mean. I'm glad I have my wife and I can talk to her and, you know, do that kind of stuff. Get physical affection from her. But yeah.
Hell yeah. Hey, just don't have the Corona batch of kids, okay?
The Corona batch, Jesus.
But yeah, I feel you.
So I think all that's relief. I'm really grateful for all the things I have. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm able to, during a during a quote unquote pandemic, I'm able to still record a podcast with my friends.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm still able to focus on the future. I am fortunately young. I'm going to use this time to focus on my health and work out and get myself better, because I mean the reality is that's all you can really do is improve and get better. So
yeah, and I mean, you're hearing from us, and I mean in our own various ways, we're pretty fortunate to be in good health, to be our age, to have enough money or the resources to kind of get through this thing. And I mean, I don't know. My work has been great to me. They've been very, very helpful. They've gone above and beyond in sort of helping us get through this thing. Their staff, and
Are they paying you guys?
Job of this, huh?
Are they paying you guys for being out?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's not coming out of sick time. It's not coming out of vacation hours.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
it's I know. Yeah, for
I
at
feel
least
for
2
Shamit.
weeks. Yeah.
Well, you know what's crazy? Our buddy,
Yeah, we've had friends who've lost their jobs.
He works for
Yeah.
a massive hotel corporation and didn't even get that.
I work
Tiny
for a
little,
small independent bookstore.
literally
2
only
stores.
2 stores.
Yeah.
In Arizona. They're old. They've been here for 50 years, but it's only 2 stores.
Yeah, they're one of the more prominent ones, like in this area locally. But still, I was not expecting that. I really was, and I was kind of worried because I was like, I had a real struggle because I was like, I don't want to be here because you know what I mean. Like I feel like I'm at risk the entire time I'm here, and it's stressing me the fuck out. But if I'm not working, I'm not working. You know what I mean? And that can't be understated because I mean, our friend, we've had friends who got laid off, you know what I mean, when they had to close down and, things like that. And I mean, I am in a really good spot. It's easy for me to say, don't panic or, you know what I mean? Because, there are a lot of people who have it much worse right now.
I think about the millions of times in my life where I've been in worse scenarios. And if this would have happened during one of those worst scenarios, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that everything lined up the way it is. If all goes well, technically, I have horse camp waiting for me on the other side, so it's not like honestly, as all things go, I'm very grateful for my scenario.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just
Same.
That's not common.
Cars
if you can be at home working right now, you are very fortunate. You need to really be aware of that. Yeah,
or working period. I think
absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, for me, cars never stop breaking, so there's never really, it's until people there's been a diminish in my work, but cars never stop breaking, so I'll always be busy.
Well, I mean, especially now, people need them.
Nor do hearts.
Yeah, true.
And with that, I say goodnight.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta get to the grocery store, and then you gotta get to the hospital if need be.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, I think we covered the topic pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
Next week, I definitely we'll still obviously keep you guys updated and talk about our experiences as time goes on.
Yeah, our plan is to give you a little update at the top of each episode. Yeah, for sure.
And then we'll kind of I don't want this to be a time a episode or a podcast purely based on this worrying and all of our fears. We'll talk about that and be honest about those, but also then we'll just bring it back to why we started this and the reasons why we're moving forward and what we look forward to.
Yeah.
And
so.
guys.
Yeah.
Let's do our own personal recommends.
Go ahead, Mike. Begin with your recommend.
All right. So, it's currently #1 album out there right now, but I like it a lot. Lil Uzi Vert just came out with a new album called Eternal Take. And it's been pretty good. And another thing I recommend is playing Rocket League on your Xbox. And you can do that together. And it's actually pretty sick.
True that. In fact, we should open up a, what do they call it these days? What are the kids doing? A Patreon. And you guys can donate to me.
Oh, yeah, Patreon. Yeah, a lot of people are doing
donate
Patreons.
so I can do a PlayStation Plus so I can play with my homies.
Yeah. Donate. Yeah, right. Pay me.
But just kidding.
I mean, that's part of what we would do with it, but yeah. But fund, go fund me the Criterion Channel subscription.
That'd be great. That's what we're gonna be tackling is the Criterion Channel. I recommend that.
Yeah, 14-day free trial.
That's my movie recommendation. Yeah. I'm taking it from you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
do it.
But it is a 14-day free trial, and so far that's the 2-week minimum as they've been saying. So,
yeah.
Souther, literature.
Oh man, well, not technically literature, but I love the Watchmen show. Let me think here. Literature. Been playing Wolfenstein. It's pretty good. I'm about to start some books by Thomas Mann. I don't know whether they'd really be good for this time. I was going to read I got it sort of just sitting on my shelf. And I'm just kind of wait for the day, probably tomorrow, to kind of really crack into it. But The Magic Mountain, it's basically, I don't know if it's honestly a good thing to read right now. I'm going to go ahead and recommend it just because it's like the next thing on my list. But it's basically about I think it's like sort of a tuberculosis clinic, or like it's sort of like a clinic for the infirm in the Swiss Alps, and it has like sort of there's a theme and a message to it, but it's basically just sort of this infirmary or sort of wellness center in the Swiss mountains, and it's supposed to, the characters and all the people there are supposed to represent a microcosm of the world right before the events leading up to World War I, and the idea of sickness sort of leading to this horrible catastrophe. Maybe not. Now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe not the best book to recommend. I might read that one. I also got another book called The Dead by Christian Crocht, which sounds really cool, but again, I don't know if that's necessarily. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do have a recommendation. Another one, Stoner. Stoner by John Williams.
Book right there. So.
No, it's not actually. That's the guy's last name. It was written in 1965, and it's about a university professor just going through life in the 20s, and his last name is Stoner, and it's this beautiful fucking book. It's just about this guy living and these conversations that he has, just sort of about life. Very sort of deep, thoughtful, reflective. Probably a perfect thing to read right now, because it's not too overly morose or depressing or crushing, but it makes you think, and it'll make you think about your life and your purpose, and I don't know, where you are in the world. You know what I mean? I think it could be a good thing, you know what I mean, if you take it the right way. So yeah, I'm going to go Stoner by John Williams.
Yeah. Boom. Recommendations. Also, Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal. Fuck yeah.
And that's
that's our episode. Yeah, we'll be back next week. I should imagine, barring some miracle, we are going to still be in this situation, and we'll kind of give you an update of what's going on, and then we'll talk about kind of what we're up to and what's going on and how we're surviving this thing. And, we're washing our hands. We're being safe. We'd highly recommend everyone out there do the same thing, socially distance, just be safe, guys. Be healthy.
Be balanced.
Yeah, be balanced. Yeah, don't panic for sure. Take care of your loved ones. When you go to the store, you can stock up. Just stock up with what you need. You know what I mean? Be reasonable, okay?
Think 2 weeks rather than 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Because 2 weeks is reasonable. I mean, that's what families normally do.
Yeah, and a lot of fresh food and vegetables, or if a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables isn't getting bought, vegetables, Brandon just showed me the other day, you can freeze those yourself and prepare them later. So you can
except
stock
for
up on that
potatoes.
Yeah,
potatoes.
Last time I tried getting potatoes, I couldn't. I had to get these weird purple ones.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Fries.
I make smoothies, and that's like part of my little regimen. I make smoothies in the morning, and all the frozen berries are bought out. So there was plenty of fresh berries. And you know what they do with frozen berries you buy at the store? They literally just get fresh berries and they freeze them.
Oh, important note, by the way, support your local businesses, your local restaurants, because a lot of them are still doing takeout, and they are. I mean, in this time, they're all but closed except for that option. So make sure that you, I don't know. I mean, if you want to order in, definitely do that, because those people are depending for jobs and for the business to survive this whole thing. Order out. Sorry.
Yeah, order out.
Yeah, don't go in. But yeah, so yeah,
you need that pizza hit. You need that Thai food.
Yeah,
you need that Vietnamese food. You need that Mexican food. Man, I'm so hungry.
They will bring it directly.
A lot of them are delivering who are normally not delivering.
Yeah,
so just give them a call.
Might not be sick.
Hey, you know what? This shit ain't DiGiorno either. So
yeah. Ooh, shit. He's going back a little bit. The chair doesn't have wheels, but he's kind of moving it back and wiping himself off. All right. We'll be back next week, guys. But seriously, be safe, be smart.
Following.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can follow us on Instagram at 21st Century Underground, and you can follow us at Facebook at the 21st Century Underground Podcast. We're on Anchor or Spotify. This will be on YouTube, but there, quite frankly, there'll be just an image. You know what I mean? We'll try to make it interesting for you, but no promises there. This is the time of the coronavirus. Loving the time of the coronavirus. But yeah, seriously, be safe, guys. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Hang on.
If you need some music, go find our playlist.
Yeah, we got a playlist. Right now it's about 14 hours because of what I did to it. So I assume we'll trim that a little bit.
I noticed.
But yeah, we'll have some stuff.
You can find that if you look up on Spotify, Mike Villarreal.
Yeah.
That's Villarreal.
A faster way. You can do that. Go to my profile and then go to my playlist. Or if you literally just look up 21CU.
So go listen to that if you need something new to listen to. Figure out what inspires us and take care of yourselves.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Seriously, be safe. Be smart. Don't panic. Take care of each other. We'll be back. Okay. Have a good rest of your week.